Hello there, Taylor with the Armageddon report. So let's talk about what's going on. We've got four different storms happening. In effect, whatnot. Severe Tropical Storm Tembin, Typhoon Bolaven, Tropical Storm Isaac, and Post-Tropical Cyclone Joyce, who is now on the final advisory. So let's take a look at the Western Pacific. So we've got Tembin, who made, I believe the path was something along this line, and is now doing basically a loop-de-loop across, traveling it past over Taiwan, now making another round of it and predicted to become the equivalent of a Category 1 hurricane. We've got Bolaven, who is on a path to eventually most likely impact South Korea, and that would be the equivalent, apparently, of a Category 2 hurricane. And if you look at the max predicted speed that is in one of the models, 150 miles per hour. To put that in the context of something like Tropical Storm Isaac is predicted to become a hurricane with the max predicted speed, at least as of right now, of 80 miles per hour. So, I don't know, I guess the segue with that would be Isaac could be much worse. However, I have been hearing some doom and gloom type reports where... So originally Isaac was not scheduled or whatever, but predicted to kind of make direct landfall around here, but now they've got the NHC has been moving the forecast more and more westward, which would mean that Isaac would quite possibly get a whole bunch of warm sea surface temperatures out in the Gulf of Mexico to basically charge up. And I have read some doom and gloomers who are saying this could be the first, really big major hurricane in quite some time. Today, I do believe, is the 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Andrew, who made landfall today 20 years prior or whatnot as a Category 5 in Florida. So it's apparently about that time of year. So, spaghetti models-wise, if you look at it, except for this one, which is XTRP, which is basically, it stands for extrapolated or extrapolation or whatnot, which is that if the storm were to continue on the path that it's been on in the past 12 or 24 hours, I forget what they base it on, then it would be going that way. So that's to explain what that model means. But otherwise, let's take a look. Let's remove the normal path. So we'll go to the Isaac page. There you go. That's a little bit less cluttered. So there's actually a fairly decent consensus on, the general... There's definitely going to be impacts to Florida, and quite possibly going to be impacts up here with Tropical Storm / future Hurricane Isaac. So, yes, big stuff. If you're in the path, you should definitely be, taking your precautions, making a plan, I don't know, filling up your gas tank so that you can book if you need to. Also, yes, I don't know. That was not very helpful. Yes, the gas thing. What was I going to go? Petrol. You go to a petrol station or whatnot. Anyway, so one of the reasons why you also would want to get gas is if you own a power inverter. You can use it if the power goes out. Plug it in. If you've got a cigarette lighter in your car, you can plug it in and get like enough juice that maybe you'd be able to power like a laptop, a cell phone or something. Of course, would a cell phone work if maybe all of these cell phone towers are dead? I don't know how often that happens. So that is what is going on right now. So obviously, real big news there. Big news for South Korea there, potentially. And yes, so moving on to the US weather hazards, we've got a huge amount of red flag warning. So that would be where fire weather conditions are favourable or whatnot, so that if a fire gets spread, it could spread quite quickly. So don't set the fire out there. And then we've got the red stuff is tropical storm warnings out there. The orange is special marine warning, which I think might be sort of roughly the equivalent of what you might see with a severe thunderstorm warning or potentially a tornado warning over land. I think that's the rough equivalent when it's over water, as they call it, a special marine warning. Obviously, if you're affected by it, you should actually read what it says. Right, speaking of severe thunderstorm warnings or whatnot, so we've got a 15% chance of winds and hail today, just a 2% chance of a tornado, however. So the probability map for wind, that would be winds 58 miles per hour greatest, so the greatest threat in North Dakota today, but 5% back there, 5% on the coast. And then hail-wise, hail would be 1 inch or larger to be considered to be severe, so similar areas to that map, except that it obviously drops the coast. And then tornado chance, the coast is back again, and then North Dakota with the 2%. So, for instance, if we talk about this random point in North Carolina, that would mean, what does the 2% mean? It means there's a 2% chance that that random point or someone within a 25-mile radius of them could see a tornado today. So speaking of tornadoes, since we're going to skip most of the rest of the stuff, since it's a fairly tame chance at the moment. So as of, what is it, the 26th is quite possibly when we'll see a jump. In fact, let's just go there. So when we'll see a jump in the probability of tornado stuff. So if you go there and actually read it, they'll talk about it. So, but right now, not certain enough for it. It's only at a 5% for that. For in general. But the point is, August 26th is when we could start seeing from the outer bands of Isaac could be bringing tornado threats to Florida. So obviously, if you're in Florida, pay attention to that. I'm sure you are, though, you know. It's just that kind of month or something to pay attention. After, what, the completely dead July, now all this stuff is happening at once. What is up with that? Yes, so on that note or something, or not on that note, severeweathertv.com is the official homepage of the screencast. You go to the old ones there for some reason. You can click on the drought tab, unless, of course, you're in the path of the hurricane. You'll be like, hey, the drought is going to be resolved soon, or it doesn't even exist at all. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of links, random related weather resources down there. Right, WikiWix is WICKEDWX.com, Cyclocane is CYCLOCANE.com. There's also, of course, wherever you'd like to get your weather. For instance, the National Hurricane Center, Joint Typhoon Warning Center, Japan Meteorological Agency, Pagasa, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China. Yes, Servicio Meteorologico Nacional, and that's it for today. So hopefully, you know, it would be lovely, of course, if Isaac just disbanded completely and caused absolutely nothing. But it's looking more and more like Isaac will be costing some sort of threat. So, that I have no idea. I never know how to end these things, and then that becomes my ending to say that I never know how to end these things right. And then I say, the end!